Papa, Emma Ramsay congregation or Pasaha. It is Ufi, a sixty, and a chair, and then only a Suaha. Emma or Pasama, and I, if I have then Asante, Mamunya, Papa, and then I remove far, and then Munya, only a Suaha. Yes, sir, I said, a person I'm going to say, without Kopona, Casafa, Olivia, Unasai, Asubio, Amen. I want to say that one of the issues everybody to the day as a dream. One for a baby or someone, or a day. Again, I buy one, am I? Mr. Westman was a papa. Doing upon accept every I'm a person, I watch you, my name, Agnes, Asisa, anybody anymore. As I'm before, I watch you to make this one house here. Mr. Stephen, sorry, or Madame Agnes, Asisa. Here, boy, and one entirely said, come here, man, I watch you say, Emma, first living harvest for the year 2026, no ever so. Wonderful, baby, and more, wonderful, I said that Muni and my way for a time, or a film, and fashion, and down. There was also a kind of say, a Jordan Empire, or a 7 days with Christ, and we are one, or Sna, our panel, and ever so, you know, fire more than she. Sarah, if you are retired, so also everybody so suddenly we are finding more ways to be a fight on the share or a day and stuff.
You're conscientizing and crop for Nancy idea okay because I draining Yana wow can yeah or money a team they are bro but my man and I are the point here they're now because see saying changes and the mindset of my approach for the boom baby and my frustrated because prof by all there oh can't some can answer some Ghana massa yeah they be petty
yes oh
and then morning tea
if you make that some say me ko to we che na me dey e che butu biti me a simple person me gina hwa obi say ase minimum baby na mayi mani me gina line so ase minimum baby the third time oh NDC professor no I was shocked sir nipa timi tag obi say political me buy school buy me masters me PhD me boss student no $200,000 NDC ni mo hwe me ma ko me school di me nim de e boa me man no e bi the scholarship na ba o mu wi o ma sa tena ha o man ko fie obi a the first degree ne master's PhD ni nyina ye Ghana ban sika wan kofie ete ha e bo brand na buson yen ye di sika na kofie ko boa when you speak na say anko party bi say na opeso tia na watag wo political party imagine
we have the skilled people. Yeah, one more being economy finance. But over Ghana, hey, one day you so sending idea about how
identity Uber British yes we African ni ukwa ukrom so yes we American ni afi de yenye den
no probably ever can want them. But I am your question on plane that you think said the nanka politics and NDC for no. What should President Muhammad do about this? Because when you say, as I say, a top level from our president, near to be crime armed forces, helicopters, the way I say helicopters, they come here this year. And going for how do we move forward? Pushy President Mama. What should we tell President Mama? MPP or the number supporting and top playing for from man, so that we know that Senator Prof can governance it's at a cost, but we must do it.
Sister Fia, I think the honorable thing Abloko Kujetu must do is to apologize and set a certain standard for people to realize that politics it doesn't help all of us. What you say when you do the wrong thing and time catches up, no that will not change your position as or the same minister for or the same foreign affairs. That will not be the basis upon whom your mama will say may fire out. Mama can appoint and disappoint you anytime without any reasons, any basis. What I say. Intimate say, oh yes, Anna, it will let people realize politics near to the Bia, the Kasama no Boroso. The Kasama no Boroso, let's have the humility to accept, we were wrong on this and move on. But to still make it look, whatever you said stands, and where's Anna, your other opponents will not budge in quickly, sir. What you say? Intimate say, come on, be no D for presidential jet, it wasn't, good for our country. It exposes our president, it put the president at risk, and it's just unfortunate that a new president has come in and he has to deal with all the inconveniences. Maybe Sir Mampeni said, look beyond that, because when we were all Mampeni, said you will standards higher. What you say? We standard and your minister be standard. So the other boy, minor, go ahead and do it, even if it will mean people will talk, people will criticize. Eventually, go for a plane. Say Neochroma. Our history tells us. Go for a plane. Did go for use it? Go for did not use it. The I hear me young come say it was the same attitude. We usually tend to make a lot of noise about it politically. Here, go for and see Jubilee House and can that's what the slave cast the whole. Jubilee House, go for and see and can that's what the slave cast the law. Oh, they are mature. Oftentimes we tend to do a lot of politics about it. Intimate say, presidency, it requires a jet. If it has to be bought, buy it. But don't make it look so big top presidential jet and just so insensitive. So politics now, politician more than hoya. The amu person would do no one and conform so bad. It will be because man can say mumu. Say mumu your mom shamono. Why do you expect a mono will accord you any level of respect? In this, I'm saying, Jumana, and a woman uncle phone and ya grobi niedi, or manchitrena, it's a very serious business, a young for Sabi, or Mujiniquachi, a Jinidachi, and your decision on taking lightly, Samayama, I a fuso Janibi dekeke. No, a decision who make here, you are making sound decisions for our country. If you answer Papa, maybe Papa, why, and what to know, baby, I feel of Raman, phobia, some one or Mumba. Because you said there are kind of campaign platforms. Decision you're taking, it can cost a lot. It can bring a lot of problems. It can bring a lot of good if you take it and you take it well. If you don't take it well, the consequences will come. And when it comes, it will be on you. It is the fear. The American said the politics around the presidential jet, it was unhealthy. Blackwa must apologize for it and let Ghanaian people realize that kind of common course that I'm why, and also President Mahama must go ahead and ensure he secures the seat of the presidency. So, your sister, do you know what it means if a president loses his life whilst he's a president? At a means there, let's not take it light. I say it was a light, say at a means fusion a transition, it wasn't that light, but because your Democrats now much wanting, we kind of got around it. But you cannot risk the life of any president, whether you voted for him or not, because of you petty politics, mere politics. In the system here, I will say, sir.
But do you think the prof can say potential conflict of interest? No, a bit because NDC for us, someone can say President Person be high plane. Yeah, the no so the name say enye. Tina France for crash or mama plane you can for you. It's not even airworthy. Plane no cry airworthy. Into a mama plane you come and your crown, no mama plane into. No, my dear, see. Into some Quebec high behind Quebec Cadie and go use there. But do you see the potential conflict and interest
there's a potential conflict there, but I can also understand why people are saying so. High we say we are building institutions. What you say? If the cost of it requires or mine has to take the cost so that we can let people know that this is a no-go area. Let all your appointees or all government people will be realize when it comes to issues of ethics, as the standards are very high. So even if it will cost the presidency to show that example, I think so be it. What you say? So be it, because society who could criticize loophole or from a loophole. No, you don't know where that will end us. So what you say? Or no, where the culture say, oh, yeah, but we maintenance costs no cry high. Into maintenance costs near high. No, so I before. You don't want to give those rooms and those space, especially at the highest level of the presidency. It raises serious issues, and the timing of it also. Sir, Sister Fia, it's not all positioning. I know you see the brother and a private jet, and then they say, oh, now opposition, that will not become an issue. But once you become a president, the whole discussion and now say expectation changes completely. So they are mature, and the optics are not good, especially for a governance process. We don't want to allow for some of these things to come back. Intimacy say it's very concerning. Omunfa a canon to Arizona plane, Omunko Famra. Your mama is just a stopgap president. I can't deny him. 3 years. And it's out there. And that president will come and make good use of it. Sister Fia, now, Messi also said, who said, the entire Ayana president security, we don't put it in private hands. And they say, there's a whole lot that goes around presidential security. So what I say, and no, the public don't see that. So, Callistus Mahama Kasano, you can see saying it's right up, and you can see a lot of frustration. Because now he's faced with the reality and the pragmatism of dealing with securing the life of a president and at the same time balancing all these different competing constraints. It come with the travel. And you can see the frustration. Why do we put you in a job when we have a solution clear before us? Now, I think, sir, it's a lesson for your political class. And to be very honest with you, I think, sir, Okudjatona poisoned the environment for this conversation. And he must take the bull by the horn and be a man and apologize for it and let sleeping dogs lie. But I apologize. Now, of course, I justify sorry, Max. Now, you don't show good example to or more Makano and more Makasa. And I think, sir, it will continue to muddy the political conversation around the issue.
Oh, moving on. This alleged scandal, potential scandal, the idea about big push, but more so about the deputy. Deputy chief of staff, and I saying.
He's a deputy chief of staff.
Deputy chief of staff.
Yes.
The issue about gold board contract or the company. Another issue we all know, say under Kufuado, there was talk about family and friends and all that. In fact, our talk started from NDC. NDC by first one, they were accused of doing family and friends. Then Kufuado by even a bigger level of family and friends, because obviously you say Kufuado more President Kufuado Abemo. But this one, because this campaign was very straightforward and there were specific promises made. Prof, what do you think about this? Because me who's a gold ball for propaganda and
yes.
It was a properly arranged contract, a court tender, and no more award here. But as I say, I can ethical issue. It still remains a stand company and no more. First and foremost, Bank of Ghana Dino, NDC made a lot of noise about it. Now NDC movie PMMC called Bank of Ghana Dino.
What can one say? I'm saying beginning winter no can winning in our my opinion. Sometimes your programmer because what can be once I show opinion, I let it go. Meanwhile, Nanaya, the American say, Okujato opinion. I've done a lot of programs with Sami. He's a young guy. Okujato opinion is 1 out of 33 million. That was his opinion at that time. And Okujato was appointed by the president so that the president can ignore Okujato and do what he feels right. Because Onona Oyi no as minister.
Okay.
Who your leader will be our best selecting the BI into your inner circle. No? It reflects on your judgment. And it's a officer Nyasameka, it's not tenable today. Because Asembu Albekan and right, then no one who say and said that why would you honor, then yes, and Senka, Oyeno. Abrofubia Koya research at Ghana university be a pay will be 5 years. Now they wanted to know why Ghana for a year a coma yukrumu and around us the BI a corner a year peaceful sir. Unim what they found. Said Ghanaians live by the present. A young crofo you live say and they yarn you live by the present. Ye future near the BB and shed and high and sir. And the assembly bar within 2 weeks near Kaya Bobo one return pants and no be a corner baby. And the acquire in nature, Yabeka was a passim strasem. That is the nature of a typical Ghanaian. A passim strasem. To Oko Kayabeka say, Ombeku, Ombe saying tis a politician being person say, oh, near run now. I've been threatened many times. Even run round, I say we will kill you, we know where you stay. Now, why you ding? Now, on come once in because of his own come. But no credit, editor. So, no credit to, and now we leader, I won't throw and I won't trust some Becca because when you send no credit and I can scandal to say, Wakoto and San, Unimun Sanum. Now Wakoto beer, now went to me and no wet me on half per so I did saying, you know. The next say, you know, Wakoto, no wet me on full bottle. Now, be when the next day now noon too. I feel nowhere drew to say state of Wisconsin. You see, if you be binge drinking.
Yeah,
drinking is what one beer bottle 4. Ghana will be to me no more time. And has a 15
me brother so to minimum create.
Aye, obenum ni nyina gudi ye wo wi ana ayi waye de ono ko ne baby. Enti etomre bi wo ha ye hwe na ye mfa nsem ni bi enye ye nipa baako.
Tinti de na ya ka se okujeto embe pacho we should ignore that.
Ana make okujeto asem no okujeto asem no so be pacho wo so mpacho wo no. The president as a leader have a responsibility, and we as citizens also have a responsibility. Ye mpene emma ye leaders. Become Madam for your standing MP. Me chrome for the catcher say, look, baby, I would take any car with you and Yamayan. Would you okay with it? Bow ye leader. Yamayan, you know, yeah, Pecasia, my baby, I'm watching a son, as citizens are. You're responsible, yeah, say, and Yamayan, see a leader, who baby or two crying enough or reference for bro. I told mommy who play in a Fanko, you see, and yeah, fair. Oh, me make aside to send a child, me and so practical will be at us here. And yet, my yang say, oh, Brown Patchoma, said the next time, Annie Brown, so bro, me so make a contract to be near you now, also a year. Oh, to me, and then a potential conflict of interest, you know, and then the Abu Musanashi. But what Chinano Busani Bibia, morally, one farmer now, why a brother Bonnie? Because so much on wow, I don't know what watch him out, and no any leadership we guard against. Na scandal na mekano afese si a wono munsano no wa be ye drunkard enti wo ye leader bia no governance no scandal no be unity aba se wenti aso a na wo gya na obi foforo so be tra wa hwese a meso me ye say ya wo be hu no na fe akofa corruption na se wa ban President Mahama pese o leave legacy. The leadership ni is simple or pese oye open and collaborative na o pese reduce cost na fe o some build the public trust. This in Yamana president in the person, no research Ghana or research we know the 2 1 or bet was be on your winner. Now, scandal some of these things in the Maya board chirping. And to my main church, you must send here. Say your bad bidding process in procurement for no whole. Unfortunately, Ghana for fee say any policy be for procurement, which is wrong. Policy in for procurement. But your procurement for no home yen Majuma. And in Crawford Bede. Omo be dia omo forms as say we de ba omo wo tax forms say so do we wo ha oba be de na ne tax yi no awu and I said the license won't you go through all licenses say so nya nti be nipa 18 and aba be de ba be we na 3 pe and meet all the criteria na menche aban mu security be wo ma mahu won krofo bi wo nya ba bia na me wo wonim say obi wo ha obi meet all the criteria but the bidding price is low. Obi wants to omiti just half, but the bidding price and a high. If you so we show as a board, I will say, almost omiti half, none the bidding price and a high no, a fictitious company ni ho. Ghana,
anyone when you could go to that baby.
You how crafty Ghanaians are. Any sensible board, we are
a creative scandal no for the political parties. No,
if you are Ghanaian, onim chrono bokeke. On the board, I'll say, let's go we will meet all the criteria you are looking for. The price is low. And in your common sense, how they come back or no meeting, but the price is high. But we not two name meeting and new home pop. And the Bema way, who be one yard the Bema no, they are also inside the binipa. You see how I'm yet tricky. And it's a wow 15 same with the Bia Rubenia problem. You be uses, yeah. Because say no your mother no omonim system no they understand the system. Why you about CEO any minister no now so beto omo ho be a technocrat for 20 years
it's
system no
say this gold board issue because na tami je fin nim say be say
so enti nkrofo na attender so a competitive yi na o attender company will meet you all the requirements no and then the price ye lower and na obia board bia anti board no we here for policy any approval of these things. Oba no be church dem we will be invite us mo me church dem mu then am we say be explain bibia in a PowerPoint. Actually say and ye koto nkonwa ni say ye wi a renovation ye be say technical ayini nyina mba be actually. No man can say be building the structure because Bank of Ghana building no one thing I mean when he say structure ni ye shake cracks wom. Amanfo ni yes. Cracks room and
one of the reasons why Omune so much.
Yes, I'm on for him. Me Krono Ghana Bibia Missem.
And new one.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yes.
And again, that begs the question, Prof. Why was the new one? There was so much politics about it.
Sir, on China, where you be a huno, obekan ura inside in politics, and also language is different. And the politicians get things done, but they do it differently because your system, in fact, at our hands in Yama be brown to me. In public service, you can't do this, you can't do this. So, the toilet roll crown over try. As I said, what they call procurement. Normally, but procurement as a toilet roll near 2 cities, and on choir, be a 45 cities.
Right.
Oh, but almost procurement for now they do more juma. Now, because say, I don't think I'm a firm which here many be 2 cities. Now, with the other 45 cities, meaning someone to procurement for language are different.
And the system now, Ghana
is corrupted. The system is corrupted. Go procurement a honor no audit in bano. Now, the Melova Kasembi say, Niaoviano or you so clever say audit be anywhere betting your channel. Entina ye court SMP before by disika or run unchiobia. And this is also by so unchiobia. Why? Because no receipt to be a we hear piano. Why yet walk and you walk no wine. And so now you see 2 billion naira.
Very well.
And your system no. So if I am the president, those procurement near my any baby 2 pages per. So yeah. In fact, documents in the technical report about Buamenya report 188 pages. Almost a dissertation. Maybe a financial report.
Just so that we are quite reading.
That you said they were gonna take class in a yard, no, to do. Baduma say report to bar. Ye jenny say you're printing so. Would people
like Sami Jemfi and all those people who complained about Nana, maybe a quick one on this reaction to that. And Mama, come Prof and say, is it possible? Says our technicalities okay, Sami Jemfi and all those people know. Yeah, they are swerving or man because NDC made noise. They also made noise against MPP. So if they are aware of all these things, I don't know who blaming MPP.
As a new CEO for new place, a different from baby away you mapping. Well, as a minister, no one call old ministry, and I say old one and your master by the time you come back. And ye directors in every hall, ye management in your system in that way. Obia one is star. And the best leader at Ministry of Lands, can be the worst minister as Ministry of Interior.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's a who now could drew her. Won't be a man, the say no more. Sabuna waba. And you understand no idea no so person yen adwuma o mbech your language no person no me adwuma be say
in this case into purchase Sami Jemfi onim stand
what I'm saying is say you can say there's a procurement breach. That is what the law talks against. But processes no bidding process there's a tender no go through processes crofobebe will be disqualified ebu anipa 16 or apply you disqualify by 10 aka 6 na fe ne ye behwe nitty-gritties we no bidding the ye omit all the requirements because we a renovation.
Okay.
The renovation was 11 million and then the furniture and also 3 million.
15.
Now renovation and furniture, do we decide as management and say you didn't bako and I say the company and you almost okay, we see Obama renovation, Yanfani say, we the 11 million, bako the 15 million, bako the 14 million. If you are no furniture and we the 5 million, 3 million and the lowest. By quality both in the renovation and then in furniture.
But I'm saying, morally, ethically, is NDC correct in doing this when they complained about similar thing in MPP?
And idea, sir. You leave it for Ghanaian. So when you papa na wanye no Bible say abonimano. So I talk from the Judeo-Christian perspective. Say when papa, but waka say company and the meaty the tender process owie ya no one fancy and about the owner anything. So there's nothing hidden. Okay. There's nothing hidden. There's nothing hidden. Say company way and a winnie some organization will hide the company secret no my end, but your publisher mama from the company and a month for the company no it belong to this person. That is where people are talking about inside information and all those things. I leave that to perspective of Ghanaians. Why? because I'm a professor, what I do is that when I do a research, I put whatever I find out there for different audiences to interpret the way they want. And that is how our democracy should be. It can be, I mean, can be. But say, obedi do be a term now, you know, because Ghana for yanyi ya mature politics, and to be who bonia who, and found who school our and our school our uncle, only say way wrong. And in future, no, we should prevent against that. That is the code of conduct that president here is okay. So, you cannot bait. When you say code of conduct, you know, or say, that is what we are pushing for.
Code of conduct.
Yes, I want a code of conduct. We say,
deputy chief of staff to me the contract.
Well, so we go to the code of conduct, and then that is where you do.
So this is a breach of President Muhammad's code of conduct.
So, person building case academically, go to the policies at the mao. And I said the constitution, and I said code of conduct. And I say there has been a breach. That is the only way you build a cogent argument. But so many do be a term, or and yes, I'm a boo of mine. My being no.
What do you think?
Like I said, it's also concerning, right? It's because of the issue of transparency. Because we say, let's say a restrictive tendering. What you say, not just a new beyond a man ever tender. And because of our perceived doctor can the issue of perception. When people perceive say BB and also to so to avoid our perceived near they are now the cures and transparency. So BB hamo be then. Abede where and uncle be and on where we near. You cannot come back and make the argument, say you the fact say any company in law, typically your company will be different from the individual person, right? So that is the other legal side of the argument. But as to what I said, insider information, it was only made known just to a few privileged people in government. As I said, yeah, abansas here or more complaining. The same principle. And now abankas are more auction. Then I say for they don't go to public auction. Vomo, I think he's made argument about that thing. Ni Lanteba Nama, wow, Nipa has asked question that why is it that there's no public place auction cars for everybody to have the right to be able to auction? Exactly. Just a few people in government, because they have the privilege to be in government, they have that information. And then the way I understand I say, yeah, said you are pencophobia or Marco Abemo or more click or more, and Eddie Nyomo. So issues, I think so we have to solve those issues across the board. Because the way and open and now Obiako Bede in a later say where we near. I mean, and no crama why we are the no we you who feed the process because you are able to justify that he came with this. But when you acquire this restrictive tender, it's possible you might have given some concession to him. There are some criteria would favor and you didn't need to favor other people. You raise room for all this speculation and all these perception issues. I don't think, sir, they've taken time to really understand what was in there and how that was a bit more restrictive for behavior. In law, sister, you can break the code of conduct, but when you go to law court in the strictest sense of law, you might not have breached any law.
Exactly.
So sometimes those are where the difficulties are. And 70 people, sister, if you have the back court on this, you won't have the basis to be able to go forward. What you say, because that might not have been because he probably used one of the available options available in law and all the other. But Amambo goes beyond just sister if you are law. Code of conduct is a
exactly.
It's not in your constitution.
Ethical issue, at least.
And in business, Abrabo are born in the sister if you are law. You are never ethical standards be as uphold one in leadership. And the code of conduct from you was one very good tool to bring all these appointees to that level. Say, hey, beyond just what the law says in the books, there are certain expectations of us as society in Sweden. And some of those expectations are good code of conduct. And standard no looks like they're unable to keep up to the standard. And now they are fallen by, their own or the same code of conduct. So in law, there might be nothing wrong legally, right? But based on the code of conduct, like I'm saying, it raises a lot of issues about transparency, fairness. Was the process open where other people are aware? Where other companies have come in to bid and probably offer something better than what chief of staff, offer. And because we're chief of staff, I will win the bid. Now, how do you disentangle yourself from the argument, say, win your information, will be mao? You cannot because of process now, you see. But if it had been opener, you could say, oh, this was an open thing out there. Obia knew it. And I also went in and I put in my bid. Eventually, on one debate, Sister Fia, we will see it. But now, the good thing in this, Sister Fia, so open say, walk around the law. Thankfully, there's right to information or the same. Right to request mechanism, right to information.
Yeah, right to information act.
So somebody will now have to go use that process to understand restricted tendering, how it was done.
Okay, so now that's what you are calling on somebody to do, to use that law to demand full details of the tender process.
Yes, to demand the particulars. If you are saying, say, what you did was above border, let somebody use that process, demand the particulars, and then evaluate the criteria. Now, I will set it up, and then see, say, if indeed Nipano met all the qualification. Also look at the other people. Sister Fia, the question is, Nipa 2-3 companies, they were all qualified equally. Who makes the decision now to decide that this person has to be the one that has to be picked? Into a honor they do now. Who has the authority who make that decision? Or yes, our decision now. Sister Fia, on basis when I feel call catch and say, why am from so. So at that point the matter will end. What you say. But say now other way no more debates by restrictive tendering, other people didn't meet it. Then on the face of it, it's obvious, say, Nipa no meeting the the man. Intermediate, make a trauma, say, sure, Amamu Casano, and yeah, and one say, yo, Casano, dear Sister Fia, Obetia Casa opposition that to Agyapong the opinion. But when it comes to governance, ne real say, what the year, Jumano, Sister Fia, to the Biana challenges the preciously woman then. Also. What you say?
Are you surprised, because there's talk of Oliver Boma a friend saying there are more scandals coming out under the big push. In fact, newspaper Fourth Estate for say they have an expose that is coming up because road contracts are they are party cronies instead of established road contractors. Are you surprised that President Mama Obianim said a proper crack and said President Mama person Oja legacy? So are you surprised by this? And do you think he's still on the tangent say legacy no peso jana and Crawford moment ben no peso mo undermining maybe the legacy that he wants to leave?
To be very honest with you, I don't have any expectation about the NDC government. I just want them to surprise me rather and do something awesome for the country. But pass no have no expectation that they are coming to do something different, something unique. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have that expectation. So nothing surprises me about anything that happens in this government. Okay. The only surprise, I'm almost surprising me, almost surprising Ghana for say they should do more. They should be better. They should realize that we've done better and better and better. That is the sweet surprise I'm person the moment. But other than that, Sister Fia, when it comes to NDC, nothing really surprises me. Because so I catch them say based on the experience, big push project Sister Fia, it might be one of the biggest projects we've ever had probably in our country. Now, Bekachem say you are going to use 3 years. Our feasibility study now 1 year. Now, could you not parliament now? Casa Asemia. Me na metin chena. Me nim se na mambu semte. Na me nim se na sahani ema ye juman. Me sure na me di mitia sero. Investor na. Or you more intelligent. Or you more on the research. Only how these things play out in the workplace. Or sure budget no just handsome now kana. Or be sure no asero. But for the politicians, it sounds well. For the politics, it's okay. But the reality will catch up. Sad near mano. Anything that maybe some of these issues are coming up because now you have to fast track some of the processes. Because one who say a Jumane woman then also. And if you have to do that, chances say over corners quickly to be able to get people to quickly go to site and start working. No, because when you say you are working with tight deadline, well, I sure who was 3 years. And that's why you begin to trip Kakra because now you want to get things done quickly. And once you jump certain requirements, maybe I say, well, you won't yet be open. And this is what politicians do. What you say, unrealistic targets. Wouldn't say a project way, a 5-year project, but because you want to do within a certain time frame, what they are better on them. Now you are forced to go and work around it and meet near me so you now to execute this project. I will not be surprised because, like I said, no. Timeline on the and I realize it's not realistic. 3 years for a project like that when you haven't even done the feasibility studies. I mean, Sister Fia, I mean, it's too much.
Nana, Prof. Abemba, Mami Musa, Nana, I say, oh, MPP for some more moral right, given what also happened under Mono. Do you have any moral right to question NDC? As you say, yes, NDC attack you people, but more moral rights, and more so there were a lot of scandals under you, conflict of interest issues, sometimes clear breaches of procurement law, even leading to era ABA AJ, former director of procurement authority, on who awarded contract to his own company. Does it give MPP for the moral right to even question NDC now?
It's not an issue about moral rights. So why fish who say me the bonnie no? You have the benefit of hindsight. What no position I did you have the benefit of hindsight. Now banner be repeated at the end. Why are you even going to ask the question about moral rights? So we are the one by yet, and I'm before the casa. Then yes, you can go and tell them, say, hey, you did this, but you are repeating the same thing, and now you are questioning. For why your position you have the benefit of hindsight. Now criticize what Ghana phone now. Forget about MPP phone. So then MPP phone pen no Ghana phone on what MPP phone. What are you telling them? What message are you sending to them? Into politics, no, don't do it, say MPP. You say independent people now who convince them. Wow, NDC phone now cast some what are you example Ben I would show them with what you are doing now? So, Sister Fia, parties need they will have their issues, but sometimes if you say community will have one problem, because sometimes the things that they call scandal in reality are not scandals, but they create this big picture. What you say, and then no more raising who into standard now. You can repeat that same standard to you because a lot of other things say PDS says I'm PDS. I don't know where court be about in this case, but people said it was a scandal. I'm a Niaman be bra amaka and ebi na akoya ba say when they come going to court to prosecute people, they cannot because Niaman what they call umbrana nima sana prof kind and umbrana nima they might have followed down everything right, but one woman it for because of political effect. Okay, what you win in the political environment, you cannot necessarily win in the court of competent jurisdiction, and the judges are not there to promote your political interest. They are there to do according to them law and law only. Into politicians, let them face their own consequences about the things that they say about themselves. They will refine themselves. The disappointment will come. Their supporters will vote. With time, will say, no, game here, it's not helpful. The system will correct itself. Into the moment, why? No, population is short.
For Prof, final thoughts from you on this issue.
My final word and it's a na me say we have this beautiful country with beautiful brains. Ghana for baby no, they are doing well. Engineers, medical doctors, professors, architects, farming. I didn't think I yent come home near fanya dear wire home. Because no cranny say, and who yasan Ghana and Ibia be too quackot no be maso. Ibia where you chromo and a year near my ye, the hospitals a year, your schools a year, and can be a come. Now, my musa question. Say Republican Trump say all your war ni say we nyina na all my contractor. Who you say Trump or the Bema Democrat ni bi so no nya na. And the politicians say no ma dwen na etia no. Obi aboka, obi to be the $5 million not their cost support to political party. Obi de Crawford wo musika no ma ho den na anajo na bi nam afram plains nsuo iso. Ekoye campaign ko kasa chen Crawford. Na say party ni aba power. Na a big push contractor. Also the Komako video. Yes, a party Nangasal ma ombepinana because positions cry channel. Obia didn't crop for ba 1 hour line with Godfather and wine. Those kind of things. And
even in one party no those things no.
Sir, there are many contractors in NDC. Omunya contractor omususu. And kakra no manya no na wo se won fan MPP ni chese party na nkasa kra mpene because mahama wo no sometimes his hands are tied oh party no structure
I absolutely agree
party no structure ho enti position kra wo man no da bi obi ka se da bi menim atamos time or do obi call yes say yenye no Ghana ambassador to US in the end no ma meni nya deputy ambassador we nya ambassador no and so president no nominate no
party for na award
party for Mbeka said no nya de be pinenti say party ye nya big push ni ye kwan na contractors we party mu a o si MPP for me wo me wo list and crofo dia brema ye si MPP for a omo yegusie CEOs mahama anyi wo man crofo push for it say these are MPP non people, why are they still opposing this for nya adwuma nye and your politics no sa na akoye abroche de nka aban bi fruits na aban foforo ba technocrats no bi nrusu na adwuma ba ye de na ko say adwuma ni ho enti say oye ba na say ye tifie ni anya adwuma ade na omo be di de sa na omo be ka no 8 years no o sam no so atena so adi obi ayenso ye equally qualified people mu tifie enti sa na your politics na ko ye mature on that level no balonti den e dey big push no mommy ndc for no omo so hia adwuma ya omo anya bi anya MPP time for 8 years no as contractors no ya mo so bi nya because okoto didi na no man so didi say yeah
it's really a scandal in the sense of it.
Yes, scandal. Yes, scandal. Honestly, NDC you qualify one document be obey to me the I big push project and how they come and people near where didn't the IAB for why you off and road for 8 years then you the na me some about met me I also mame contract me so be the mistake can ma ho den and me be aboa party no enti mo me nhwe no society no.
Any final thoughts? The one who can probably is talking about the reality. The reality on the ground.
And then the politics now, I don't have a problem, sister. If you are given a contract and we are getting value for money now,
exactly.
Of course. Some no crane politicians, politics, I think some they don't let the people know. They make it look like, I mean, they are profit can Chrome Hanum Sabu or more lobby politicians. Why did they do that? They do that because eventually the government will implement a certain policy that will favor a beer and the company and any interest and so forth. That is part of politics. It is our reality in India. Say what Tiasi say it is part of politics. But the issue is, are we getting value for money? Or when you are questioning her, if you say we are having a productive conversation. To tell me, say MPP by power, not MPP contract and we shouldn't give him contractor. So that is not real politics.
Exactly.
And some or they say utopian expectation. There's nowhere in the world that so why will you keep yourself and ask about Sanyaman? But the essay was said and say a Jumana dia money pan, he's a qualified, is there value for money? Ghana Yebenya a home for sure. So Sanyaman knew what they are, and then you can go hard on why I says I can't no then.
Nana, where they are quickly, say the same contractors and MPP one, equally competent contractors almost be more value for money when this it makes sense and this for the mom. Then we have the right to talk about.
I have no problem. So about no one from the bar. He has every right to take them on. What he has here. In the sister fear, and I have no problem. MPP ban no museo, Agyapong or boy, a contract. And I say or they say Mark Men what boy, a contract, not contract, no follow the right law, not and yet inflated. Who say okay, the value new if those things are okay. So be also money Burkina for and no money Mali for or money Ghana for now. It's our reality. That is what politics is. It's about interest. Obi, a fair scholar be David Easton. Or say politics is about the authoritative allocation of what? Resources. Exactly. Who has the authority? That is politics. What is here? So one tears here, now with the ignorance. So BP system, if you don't want to be part of that ignorant group, what you say, politicians know they can play you. Politicians cannot play it because we know, sir, this is how governance works. Into my I play mono. Sorry, I'm sorry, say 3 years I'm sure when I want to say, Nyanimidia, next year, dear, know who how a man work on a politician be. I'm a fat canana be on day and the other. When you understand, you may be here. How, but one year. And you want to ask you, and you would be also, we cry on Mokan, because one some I can want to ask you. On what pretend is what you ask you. I feel do not relate to the bar now, all kind of fraud. I cannot be responsible for your ignorance. It is a Obianco school, Obian who named Diano Obian Shia Mumosam. Now, a banner politician, they are always already are growing on money or more camera audience, be a audience. Now, when we say ignorant audience, no doors of power because we know how government works and the mechanics of how government operates. In the politicians know that. They are only evangelists, right? They are preaching to a certain target audience. What you say? Because eventually they want votes. So if they will preach to that audience. That's what they do. It's just rational human or the say expectation. Me do kodija. Some people do better. It's some American I ever what on. American.
And said you see how our friends at my NHIS office NDC for call locking ho. I don't know how much money be. You know, you have to blame yourself because there is no way obia be na obi koka na nkofo ntia se omudi na tem say eye den party be ye wo mo gina wiem ene ye wo mo tina platforms ni days so it choose where you belong so obeko school na one ma obabi abegina omo te platform no bi so then you get O level so be prof tie na wo na na ya tie se wa ban aba enya de a wo ye beka twa so ko gina wiem because you are not a wiem kind of person so it's up to you to decide say politician beka say more platforms so now we low IQ into be far. You know, last week maybe I said something about say Mahama said Russia and Ukraine war. Don't blame your IQ. Don't blame Mahama. Because of you say global geopolitics, I seem to baby, maybe and can cry home from Maka credit the befoul. It is all also Mahama can watch JD. It's up to you. You have the right to also do your research and you decided not to do. You can't blame Mahama. I know the open to me, what I thought on idea. The other can't for who or the better on idea no. I also agree with Prof. Said the Prof can. His hands are tied. The politics time Mohammed's hands. So also be my party for no so. But
sister Fia, the say omuhunu so say ruling government I on send an Prof can enye easy so contract to ho. Say Muhammad the genuine to come obi. And you could be work interpretation or the work candidates na back. There's this whole dynamics sister Fia who near Bemu now with in China or sha. You might look, it might look simple, but with now, you might have people genuinely be any panel and sort of control the money. You might have people that will say, oh, their money because of a sort of will be presidential candidate. Within your own party, there will be this friction, and sometimes politics like MPP and discipline. What parties no more so people are playing. They are playing.
Mamma Faye and so now one for TSA or politics more Ghana. Wow, party no. Unya position ya who you be, he will be per way you were through or abepe position. Opposition sujina o council. Na uwie na se woko opposition o party no opposition nipa ba ho kra mfro ujadum. Omo 4 years na 8 years kosi se obesan baba mu biem. Ye ma bibia na fiaman for hyase frɛ. Enti sa na omo politicians ni nim. We have a lot of smart nkrofo or Ghana omo ntimi nya politics because ateme ebe diu ni nse be ka che no micro bi ka che ze na or Professor Papa wa America nka or ba betina Ghana no ba be ya politics. You see asema ye be ka che no but ade ba ko pe na minim from me madisuom when he say in leadership no sometimes you have to allow yourself to be ridiculed. As I said utimi bro wan say nye di wo fro say na Yesu ye no o ma ye born asum tintasu egu no so because of ye nkwaje enti. And sometimes you know you move binim ma from to that level no because ana professor remember na kodi nkomo eso bia na ka o ma ho kwan na wunya kwanya na ka betimi aboa wo man for more than because the smartest people in our country are not the politicians.
Yeah.
Adia ba koma hu no they are not the smartest in the room but omunim sanya ye ton ye ho omunim sanya omuni ni pa ne kasa they know how to go to their level application oni ni betwa that me oni ni beto so they are at their level. So when to about na that kind of comfort, that kind of likability, I know what anything obia ni asedi nketia o contest na untimi win no because he does that. Okojina one boys no to dame. Omo mesin for omo ye dan. Of course e aduane be na mu ye dokono. Mo ye ni no mato nsa. You will not do that until they can't trust you. And the relationship cry away. So when nipa no enye comfortable around you are. Not one build the trust that you can have that lasting relationship.
What do you think about Kofo Mukase Nanado Nyamena exposing NDC? Have you heard that?
Oh, politics there, opposition there, Obekan Yama Bebre, opposition and Casano. I've never seen Obi or opposition very happy that. Obekan Bebre, but so yeah, the power and shop and also until now repeating the same mistake for 69 years. We've been repeating the same mistake because meba be blame Obi. So now, Mr. Crawford Bejedi. Then I will be a cocoa board. Now, me the first thing I do, me call baby, and I say, me your financial audit. Now, my staff audit. As I say, who say a case in the daho. Staff near over staff. Now, we are what fret the outgoing executives. I'm remember year no. Then after 1 year. After 1 year, no, what rule for 1 year? I find I become cocoa board problems. Nipa hina beji wedi.
Exactly.
If you buy ideas of the Kayano, you say financial audit in you a cow mujay and one the first car. Maybe who say Obi a day after Toyota Camry, a former after Toyota Camry, any minutes BMO. STC na me ko hu ye. Any minutes biamu driver and a friend me catch me. STC na me ko hu ye se ni puna kotua 20,000 Ghana cedis, which is like $2,000 for a Toyota Camry what they call. So your sister me I am very practical and nyame di me dua baby memu say I didn't know best or any senate here. Okay. So enti mumaya mompa
you don't believe Nanado is vindicated somewhere somehow because of the numerous promises and this year. You don't
Nanado na mu wechinya miadi so ye mana
sister via
national cathedral mana wama we win 4 years one year some another 4 years 1 year
Nanado they were winning 2 elections so you know and yes we lose election now obeka no asebo oh no the obeka bia no dey win we need 2 into utwin muto one muto or no nya 2 times so Nanado so the other thing about Nanado, he is the most popular politician that have won the most vote ever in our republic. He has 6.7 million votes to his name. President Pierre knew when just have votes.
Yeah. And it's only me come from beginning says Nanado perform here and Kamahama will never have come back a second time. And you know man a lifeline. And we have to learn lessons from these.
Nanado nyame de minim about these are the realities of life. Sister Fia, Ochina mama fiwa, what the opa may say.
They'll say the same thing, I know, right?
Another president will come. These issues, because life, these issues will come up. Intina, you need institutions to be able to deal with them because akwe nipa suni ebani ejuma the same people.
Institution can him say Trump will buy an American institutions in stronger and can say
America. A coffee crack.
Ghana Davy and
redneck or me racist in can deal be immigrants at institutions here you mention no to me yes until let make the institutions work.
This is na men microphobia eja or moko MPP USA why the politicians
James.
Sister VIT,
I
think so. Or much with party in internet, delegates MPP USA for some more about Mon consider. Me boss, Janice Asari Bidiaku. In Washington,
I am one people somewhere campaign.
Yeah, platform. Janice Asari Bidiaku, MPP, Washington DC. Abranti we or call for branch chairperson. And Daniel Pokwenchi or also call for branch organizer or no Ohio. And mention me deep Emmanuel Mensa or no assistant secretary or also call for branch secretary. I'm say Josephine while I said Jacum or no so
if you are James number James or your vice chair call for main Okoyi Obaya as main chairman.
Okay. Cover chairman now first vice.
Or chairman. Or your vice chair no call for chairman.
Okay.
And John Bat Ado no for call for youth organizer. It is if you are sure or more mobile na teams on we qualified but me did say ebinemu akere say ejuma omo re no kra nyina him nti this if you are emesra so be more opportunity na omo so be kere dem be because we know the future leaders are they body on
prof they pushing the diaspora for no diaspora for no nyina for issue baby and then they can build Ghana. I think that's a good cause
around easily.
That's a very good cause.
We show good luck.
So prof that's baby.
I wish all of them good luck, and I know said will do a good job. Made our OBBR say Michia.
Candidates for chairman there.
Oh, me feel said Jenny Sasari, but the aqua show say he has the capacity and then the ability to be able to lead us because maybe I do this if we need more of people that can interface with Ghana for and we show now because of Nejuma and he has that flexibility to be able to fly in outside of the country and come back into when there are certain maybe he has a chairperson have to be there in Ghana now. He can easily make room and be able to work. Go and Sanya man, we need a lot of leaders no mobano who can be able to frequent Ghana and interface a lot more than just being chairman and sitting here and as for. And Sanko Famobomudi, it looks like they've shown that ability to be able to do that. But regardless, everybody that it's coming, sister, if you when we say about 20 we have preferences and choices. And not just say Wona ya modi you are not good, but it's just a matter of we're going to exercise our preferences. If you say Jenny Sasari will show that capacity to be able to, lead, and I hope sir he'll be able to lead effectively. So also that the new branch organizer, I think sir Ononso is a very formidable guy, which means Ononso he's always on the grounds and he's always interfacing with Ghana, and I think so we need more of those people. Nina Chum Amponsa. And also branch, he's been doing some good work supporting the.
But I send your contact now and then
and then you have to bring them on and then Emmanuel Mensah, the assistant vice secretary, so I think so. Also call for secretary.
One assistant vice secretary.
They will not call for secretary, Emmanuel Mensah, and I'm another lady, Joseph Wallace Agyapong.
Okay.
And
so
John
Paris,
I'll
work on it.
I'll coordinate and then they can come and talk about what they can do. Microphone my pen for my minchum, menena ka baby sister, if you enter and answer one time, maybe I'm memano rest in peace or Ntiepa the man yet than us. So the Presbyterian Ntiepa, Aja, and then so boy and yet the boy, bro. Into baby, I'm menana will beat this a four dubia. See on your 94 sister here, and April 17th, you could ye Papa Aqua, Bishop Mama or the Papa de Jay into the Yen financial former at for now and war for. This the family does it for the opportunity.
That's me, Bushafoni.
All right.
I was about Nana and Nana, sorry, a finance expert or science, really economics into you'll be or finance needs to get massive, but it's also MPP. I think friends of Baumio said they all can't or more and penny for no. And he feels like MPP is vindicated somewhat, but governance, no, munya dina democracy and far more Ghana mind instead of just NDC MPP politics. No, Professor Enokopoko used to a leadership expert all the way to a PhD level, or the actual books be brave on this. And he's been part of the political system, studying from the local grassroots all the way to the top. Now, also just say we should not be too hard on President Mahama, because system is so corrupt. I check it and maybe once Mahama so bold. Now, for instance, Nini and the plane say, "Oh yeah, na ye quarter for na ye use so." Inti yada munyina so my boy na ye discussion no. Piaga say I'm just happy that Adudi is alive. Nanado nkofo ye omo ye ni nyina na nanado ho. So no abehu de ekoso no say nanado nyame. Abrante we kwame o say if ya please talk to the foreign affairs minister to resign now. Why? Na de oye ne de. De oye ne de. We so say if you imagine if Nanado use ni nua Gabia Saro to the private jet and Kadian Candice for the bayan wo krom ha. And so who de ekoso.